Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Toku, the only podcast where we talk about sci-fi monsters and dinosaur adventures. I am your host, David.
I am the other guy, Brian.
The other guy? You're not even a host anymore?
The other man.
The other man?
The other man.
That
sounds not right. I'm the other guy.
Yeah, that's some concerning language there, Brian. I wouldn't go with that. Don't let number one fan Sam hear you say that.
She already knows.
Oh, that's even more concerning, Brian. You're just digging yourself a hole here. God damn. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
off to a great start.
As always on this show, but hey, it's for a good cause. We got a good episode for y'all today. It's time, Brian. Yeah. It's 10 years in the making. We're old now.
We're old.
Unfortunately.
Yep. It's
actually funny, like, I did have a thought yesterday that I'm like, oh, I'm getting too old for this. So last night on the 12th of May, I went to see Master Boot Record over in Cambridge at the Middle East, and I'll go on this little rant here because I mentioned it to you, Brian, how upset I was about this, and I suppose I can tell.
Were fuming. I was
so upset. So if none of you know who Master Boot Record is, they are an industrial metal band. They kind of play synthesized heavy metal. So it's I can never get the wording on the description right, so I gotta go straight to the source from their bio because they word it better than me. If I could spell record right, that might help. Yeah, it's just like it's all just like computerized synthesized music. Obviously, there's all actual instruments, but it's like tuned and filtered, all these different pedals and stuff to sound like it's all computerized. And a lot of their stuff they do a lot of video game covers, which is where I discovered them. I discovered them through a Doom cover, and I was like, oh, if they played this Doom cover at this show, I'm gonna go fucking feral in this pit. And it was the third song they played. Not a single fucking soul moved. I'm like, are you kidding me? And the one guitarist, like, kept doing the circle motion with his finger to, like, try to get people to start moving around, and no one was biting. And then the worst part is, 3 songs later, everyone started going nuts. I'm like, why was this energy for Doom? Why was no one going for that except until now? I was so upset. But I got to mosh to their Bloody Tears Castlevania cover and the Duke Nukem theme, so I'll take it. Anyways,
love the Duke Nukem theme.
My long-winded point of this is, it was a pretty intense mosh pit, and multiple times I was like, damn, I'm getting too old for this, because like I'm coming out breathing really heavily, like I like jammed my wrist or something at some point. I'm like, yeah. And that's not even to say that the week before, when I went to, was it the week before? I don't know. Maybe 2 weeks before, I went to see Judas Priest, and I think like something happened to me at Judas Priest, because like I started getting like sciatica acting up, it just was in a ton of pain to like bend down and stand back up. It was not fun, to the point where the concert I had between Priest and Master Boot Record, which was Twerp, I was in so much pain. I wanted to move around so badly, but I was in too much pain to actually move around. It sucked. But so yeah, I'm getting too old for this, Brian.
What a tragic man.
I know.
Tragic life.
So it took me about 4.5 minutes to say why I'm so old, but now you all know.
Old man yells at cloud.
That's me. It is pretty cloudy over here, so.
Yeah.
Should we talk about like what we're actually talking about on the show today?
Yeah, you did that all on your own. I didn't do shit.
I know. Well, it's been 10 years since a little film, little independent film you might not have heard of called Godzilla. Godzilla 2014. Yeah. 10 years. I think we came to that realization like late last year. We're like, oh god, that movie's turning 10 next year. We're fucking old. But
Godzilla 2014. It's 2024. That's 10 years.
It's 10 years. That's how math works. I'm pretty sure.
That is how math works.
So we're gonna be going back to that special movie and talk about
the one that I like a whole lot.
I think a lot of
than most people.
Well, we'll talk about that. I mean, I really like it, so we're in the same boat, I think.
Okay.
Maybe not as other people, but again. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about that a little bit about its impact on the wide world of the Godzilla franchise, because I think that's an important aspect of it as well. But first, before we get into any of that, we got some news to discuss.
We do got some news.
Some of it good, but not all of it good.
A whole lot of big paragraphs here talking about the news.
Yeah, so Brian, actually, no, I'll do the first one because that way I can do the last one. Anyways, in a shocking turn of events, and I say shocking because I feel like Toho doesn't really do this for properties that are not Godzilla, Korean studio Wow Point will be adapting Toho's classic 1960 sci-fi film The Human Vapor as a television series from writer-producer Yeon Sang-ho, fresh off his success with Netflix's Parasite the Grey, but probably more well-known for his work on Train to Busan. And
great
movie. I actually just rewatched it like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, damn, this
probably one
rocks.
of the best zombie movies ever.
I think it falls apart a little bit in the third act, just because it gets a little too like big, flashy action sequences. But up until that point, it's still pretty sick.
I see what you mean, but the ending made up.
The ending is incredible. Don't get me wrong. But so him and director Shinzo Katayama, I almost said Katayawa, that's not what it was, Katayama, no word on whether this will also release in the West, but Wow Point did produce The Grey as well, so maybe Netflix will distribute the series. I really hope so, because The Human Vapor is really, really cool. It's the third film in Toho's Transforming Humans trilogy, which is more of a thematic trilogy than a narrative trilogy. It's just a couple films about dudes transforming into other weird things. And I
like Kamen Rider.
I wouldn't go that far.
There's a bunch of dudes transforming into weird shit.
It's a different kind of transforming into weird shit than Kamen Rider.
Okay.
I will read off the synopsis, because there's a synopsis for the show itself. What happens when a bank robbery occurs and a man who surrenders himself as the real culprit confesses that he became a gas person through illegal human experiments and committed the crime for the woman he loved? It's just the one question, but that's what it is. It's the original film is about Mizuno, who's a librarian who's been given the ability to become vapor after a scientist performs an experiment on him. He uses the power to engage in criminal activities, robbing banks to give the money to his love interest, the dancer Fuji Chiyo. Police Lieutenant Kenji Okamoto and his reporter girlfriend Kyoko work together to solve the criminal case and attempt to bring things to a peaceful conclusion. It's really cool. It's definitely more of a sci-fi film than a monster movie, which is what most of the transforming human films are. But yeah, they're really good, and I especially like The Human. I think Secret of the Telegion is probably my favorite out of all three of them, but they're all really, really good. And yeah, it's surprising that this, of all things, is being remade. Like, again, I feel like Toho doesn't really do this with anything that's not Godzilla. So
yeah, Godzilla's their moneymaker.
Exactly. But apparently this is like kind of this and Parasite, that Parasite show that Sang-ho did, is kind of a part of a push to introduce Japanese IPs into the Korean market, I guess. And apparently,
seems lucrative.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I heard really good things about Parasite. So if it works, it works. I'll be here for it as long as it gets distributed here. Hey, maybe we'll even do a review on it. Wouldn't that be something?
I would be down. I like weird shit.
Yeah. I mean, you should probably watch the original movie first.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Which I think it might be on Internet Archive, actually. When I was looking up, when I was doing research to get the news going, I think I saw a link to it on Internet Archive. So you might have it right there, Brian.
Well, if it's free, then
exactly.
I mean, I have no other excuse than laziness.
Exactly. I mean, I have a totally legal copy, not acquired by any illicit means, on Blu-ray. So there's that too.
Damn. All right. Cocky ass motherfucker over here.
What are they
going to do? A little bit of pirating.
Well, so who fucking cares? Because I don't know if you heard, but apparently, like, Godzilla -1 is now the most pirated movie in the world right now.
Man, I keep seeing all of the clips pop up on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm like, damn, people are getting this movie early.
I know. Well, because it hit Amazon Prime in Japan, so everyone they've been getting it through that.
I tried to VPN into it, and it didn't work for me. So
I don't know then. So I guess you're not trying to be a pirate hard enough, Brian. Sorry.
I just didn't really care enough. I watched it 4 times.
Yeah.
I remember the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not like in a rush to see it again. Once it does hit Blu-ray here in the States, though, you bet your ass I'll watch it again. But like, I'm not I'm not chomping at the bit like a lot of people are.
I fully intend to buy the prettiest, most expensive version of that movie.
Well, it's already. I mean, that big Japanese box set is already out. People are already getting it.
Yeah, but it's not going to have English subtitles.
I know.
So,
but they don't really do like big, pretty box sets like that for new movies here in the States.
Yeah, I know.
So you might be out of luck on that one, unfortunately. Sorry, Brian.
It's fine.
Anyways, Brian, what else is happening? What's going on? Tell us.
Well, in news that shocks absolutely nobody, because money go burr, is an as yet untitled sequel to Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, or I'm sorry, Dave, The New Monkey.
Oh, of course.
It's been announced. Not surprising as that film has taken the box office by storm and has earned a shitload of money, the most of any Godzilla movie ever. And Anna Wingard is expected to return, but nothing has been confirmed. Writer Dave Callahan is attached to the project. However, this could go one of two ways, as his resume is pretty hit or miss.
Yeah. Do you want to hear his resume, Brian? Do you want to see?
I'm pretty sure you've told me.
I have not.
Pretty sure.
I have not. No.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Do you want me to start on a high or a low?
I think starting on a high would be good.
All right. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
That's a pretty big high right there.
It's a pretty big high. All right, ready for a low?
Yeah, hit me with that dip.
Wonder Woman 1984.
Ooh, that's some garbage. What else you got?
This may or may not be a high or a low for you. It's a high for me because I kind of liked this movie. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah. It's not
it was a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it was a Marvel movie. We'll go back.
Structurally identical to Black Panther, except with, just the same. And any other fucking movie that came out around that time.
This also may be a high or low. I don't really remember. I can't remember. I don't know if people like this movie or not. The Expendables.
I don't think. Wait, which one? Which one? What?
The Expendables.
Is that the one with all the big muscle men?
Yeah.
All the army guys?
Well, all like the big 80s and 90s action stars all in one movie.
Yeah, I think I saw that, but I don't remember it, which is probably not a good sign.
Yeah, I remember watching it way back in the day, and I have no memory of that movie. So. Yeah.
I'm willing to put money down that it's got Sylvester Stallone in it though.
Sylvester Stallone directed the movie.
Oh, well, you know what? Pretty close.
I mean, he's the main character too, but he also directed it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
He plays Barney Ross. That's his name.
That's a funny name.
It's a pretty funny name.
Imagine directing a movie and giving your character the funniest name.
So the interesting thing, well, I'll give you. I actually have not seen this movie, so I don't know if that's any good. He also wrote the latest Mortal Kombat movie, which that's more of a low for me.
That was pretty bad, but like I don't know. It could have been worse.
Yeah. That was not his first video game movie though.
Oh. Ooh, what was?
Do you want to take a wild guess, Brian? This is the first movie he wrote.
Can you give me a hint?
Let me think. I gotta think of a hint that like wouldn't immediately give it away. I don't. God, this is tough. I don't.
Would you say it's more recent or older?
Define recent. Like, where's the line between recent and older?
Last 10 years.
All right, it's older then.
Okay.
It's back in the time when people thought video game movies were bad. All of them. It is from the 2000s though. It is in this millennium.
Did he have anything to do with the sleeper hit known as Silent Hill?
No, he did not.
Oh, okay.
It was around that time though. I think it was a year before. Because what year is Silent Hill? That was 2006.
Yeah, it was like
so. Yeah, it was. This was a 2005 movie. A video game movie.
Video game movie. I don't know.
All right. You want to give me? You want me to give you a really obvious hint?
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson's in it.
That didn't help me. Wow.
Okay.
I am seriously blanking right now.
It's he wrote the Doom movie.
Oh my God! I forgot he was in that.
Yes,
it's been a long time since I've seen that garbage. Oh my God, that is like a glorious trash movie right there.
It is. I kind of love it. I've only seen it the one time, but I do kind of love it.
Yeah,
I mean it's terrible, but
it's bad, but you know what? It is like stupid funny.
Yeah.
Damn, that's funny.
So
okay.
the interesting thing about him being attached to this movie, however, is that he did write for Godzilla 2014. His screenplay was not used ultimately. He did an early draft for it. But it's interesting that they're bringing him back for this movie. I don't know if they're kind of. A lot of people are thinking like, oh, maybe they're going to go back to like how that movie was a little more grounded. I don't think that's the fucking case. No, I really don't think that's the fucking case. I would love for that to be the case, but I will bet you $100 that it's just all gonna be bigger and flashier and goofier from here on out. Nothing. It's
yeah.
I mean, they even said, I haven't watched the full video, but there was a video I think maybe 2 weeks ago of it was like a director's round table. It was Gareth Edwards, Michael Dougherty, Jordan Vogt Roberts, and Adam Wingard all talking to each other about the MonsterVerse. And I think it was Michael Dougherty who like he mentioned specifically like about the prospect of going back to the tone of Edwards' film. And he's like, yeah, once you bring out the three-headed dragon and the giant moth, you can't really put that back in the bottle. And it's like, I mean, I get where he's coming from. I don't necessarily agree though, but I
don't agree with that.
The point he's making is that like, I don't see them going back to that tone, unfortunately. So it's gonna be interesting though. I don't know what, if any, of the story that he wrote for Godzilla 2014 still exists in the final film. I don't know. But it's cool. I guess they trust him enough to bring him to try to have him do it again, I guess.
I mean, I don't really think it's gonna. Yeah, I don't really think it's gonna have any impact on the trajectory.
No.
Of the series, but I did kind of have a thought that like now that they say they're doing this is like a sequel, maybe like them specifying that this is a Godzilla X Kong sequel. Maybe that's like them kind of saying like we're gonna make different movies that isn't Godzilla and Kong. Like I don't know.
Maybe. I mean,
I know I'm grasping at straws right now, but I'm really tired. I'm really tired of Godzilla and Kong.
I know. I am too. Like that's the other thing.
It's exhausting.
I don't. I want them to just go back to like solo outings, and I get. I think I mentioned this on the Godzilla on a review for that movie. Like, it makes more money, so financially it makes sense for them to keep doing team up movies. But like, I'm bored of it. I'm really bored of it already. We've had two of them, and the first one was barely even a team up movie. I mean, to be fair, this one wasn't even a team up movie because they were still enemies until the final fight.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I want more variety. I don't want it to just be Godzilla and Kong. And this is the thing I keep talking about. Like, the MonsterVerse is just Godzilla and Kong. I need a little more variety. Give me a Mothra movie now that she's back out there. Give me a Rodan movie. He's still out there, probably, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah. You could even try to make a spin-off movie, like, kind of, like, detached from Monarch and all the fantastical elements and have it from, like, an on-the-ground, like, grounded perspective.
Yeah.
And you could probably get pretty close to Godzilla 2014's tone if you did that.
I mean, they
don't even have to use Godzilla. You could use whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you could... Monarch already did a pretty damn good job of that, for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows?
Like,
if Wingard does return to direct, like it's going to be a couple years from now because he's doing another movie. He's like doing more of an action thriller with the guy he wrote The Guest with. So that's next for him. So if he does end up coming back to Godzilla X Kong, like it's going to be at the very, very least, like 5 years until we see another of these movies, if he ends up returning to direct, which who knows. Okay.
I don't know. I think you could probably fast track it to like 3 years.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess it depends. I would like it. I would like them to take their time, though. That's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We got one more big old news story, and unfortunately, it's a fucking bummer of a news story. Jesus Christ. So we have, unfortunately, covered a lot of big actor, director, film passings on this show since our inception. But I think this is like the first one that's really like gonna kind of make waves in Hollywood. So legendary director and producer Roger Corman unfortunately passed away at the age of 98 on May 9th, which is insane. Like I brought it up when I got home the other day, because that's when the news hit, and my mom was like, "If you live to 98, like you're dying happy that you lived that long." And considering he was working like up until I want to say like 2017, like fairly recently, he was still working, like absolutely. But yeah, he was a veritable titan of cinema. He is more or less responsible for keeping the concept of the B movie alive up until today. In addition to adapting a number of Edgar Allan Poe stories for the big screen throughout the 1960s, Corman also produced films like Death Race 2000, Piranha, Galaxy of Terror, Carnosaur, and of course, how could we possibly forget the Sci-Fi Channel classic Sharktopus?
Oh, what a beauty.
Yeah, actually, that shark documentary I was telling you about a couple months ago, Sharksploitation, they had Corman talk about Sharktopus, in that doc, and I remember like he saw the script for it and he's like, I fucking need to get this movie made. I need to get this movie made. Just based on, and I didn't even think it was the script. I think it was just based on the name alone, like the concept. He was like, this has to happen. I'm going to make it happen.
I mean, he saw the dollar bills on that.
He did
on that IP right there. I would fight to make that movie made. Give him a chance.
God bless him. He did it. And many big name directors, I didn't even know this, but a lot of like big name directors and actors in Hollywood like got their start just working under him and being mentored by him. Francis Ford Coppola, Ron Howard, Martin Scorsese, James Cameron. Those are some of the directors, but actors like Jack Nicholson, William Shatner, Peter Fonda, they have all had their careers launched thanks solely to Roger Corman and all the movies, because he's worked on a shitload of movies, which is insane. Like I had no idea like his influence was that like grandiose in the grand scheme of things of Hollywood. So yeah, it kind of sucks. Like there's really no one else. He was like the last kind of the old guard in Hollywood, I feel. Granted, he wasn't really doing any, he hadn't really been doing anything big in Hollywood since like the 60s. He'd been mostly doing the cult stuff, but that's not, I don't really see that as a bad thing personally. But yeah, like there will never be another Roger Corman. I don't think it's a insane loss for film.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer. But I mean, you know, living to 98, it's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, 98,
and also like just like everything that he did for like, you know, for cinema and like getting all these movies made, getting, you know, having all these people helping them with their start, like, you know, it sucks that he's gone, but I mean, you know, clearly he made a huge impact on the world, and like, I don't think anyone's gonna forget about that.
No, God, no.
So, I mean, his legacy is gonna live on forever, and that, you know, it's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, I find it hard to be sad when someone's so old, because like being that old sucks.
That's fair.
But you know, like obviously it's upsetting, and like, you know, obviously the industry lost a titan. So
I will say, if this news had broken like a couple days earlier, I feel like we should have reviewed Sharktopus instead of Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, this only broke yesterday, right?
I think yesterday. Yeah,
maybe the day I remember
before,
seeing it all on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was like late the day before, like late Saturday night around like 10 o'clock. So people were probably trying to like catching up on Sunday. So, but yeah, maybe we'll do a Sharktopus. I mean, there's plenty of stuff we could cover of his later on. I mean, I mentioned I watched Carnosaur for Halloween last year, and it kind of fucking sucked, but it's damn if it ain't earnest.
Was it funny?
No, it was funny. It was hilarious.
Okay, I mean, I'd Brian, be down to watch it if it's funny, and we could talk about it.
If memory serves, I believe. Hold on, I gotta remember. Am I just like gaslighting myself, or is this actually what happens in this movie? I want to say yes. It's about an airborne virus. Are you sitting? Yeah, I hope you're sitting down, Brian, because this is fucking insane. It's about they release an airborne virus that somehow impregnates human women with dinosaur embryos.
That's incredible.
It's so fucking stupid. But I love it. That
might be the best concept for a movie I've ever heard.
It's ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. But
I think we should cover that.
Do I really want to sit through Carnosaur again?
I want to watch it.
Do I really want to do that to myself?
I'll watch it.
All right. Well, I'll let you do that. All right. That's all the news, though. I think it's time.
Wait, actually, there is one more thing.
Oh, is there?
The Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Oh,
they're
of
doing
course.
it.
I don't know how I missed
They're
that.
adding the Megalodon, baby.
Yes. They just announced. What's the name of the pack?
It's called like the Park Management something.
Yeah,
something.
Park Manager's Collection Pack on May 16th, which is the same day as the Godzilla Nemesis DLC. So damn, 2 banger DLC packs in one day. By the way, we know that the Nemesis pack is King Ghidorah and Hedorah, by the way.
Yeah, there's not really a big surprise there.
Yeah, but more importantly than that, we got the fucking Megalodon in Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Yeah.
So
I made a new sandbox park this morning, and I'm getting it ready. I'm gonna make sure I've got room for a Megalodon. I'm so excited.
Oh my god, Brian!
What?
I'm looking at the other things that are adding into this. Guess what else they're adding?
What?
They're adding a skin for the T-Rex based on Little Edie from Camp Cretaceous.
Oh, I didn't even see that little bit down there.
Yeah, I just
scrolled. Have added a picture.
I know they didn't.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
they're really ramping up the marketing for Chaos Theory now.
I'm so excited,
dude.
Brian.
I'm so
next
stoked.
week,
There's
next
all this
Friday,
dinosaur stuff.
Next Friday, Chaos Theory, Brian.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to get in a call and watch it.
I know, and we got it.
You want to binge it?
Depends how many episodes. We'll see.
All right.
But hey, let's talk about Godzilla. How about?
Okay, I'm down.
All right, I'm gonna just come out and say it right now. What a fucking tonal whiplash going back to this like 2 months removed from the new Empire.
Yeah,
it was
this
so
movie
weird.
is on. It's such a unique movie in this, like, compared to the rest of the series.
It is. It like, really is.
Even Kong Skull Island is like wildly different.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the only thing that shares just a little bit of DNA with this movie is Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. That feels like a companion piece to 2014. But God, it's just so unique.
It is, and I think that's what kind of works so well in this movie's favor is that it's not trying to be anything else. It's not trying to be. Here, I'm going to bring up my review because I'm going to butcher my own words if I don't bring it up and have it in front of me. It's not really concerned with pleasing diehard fans like King of the Monsters was, or fulfilling a 50-year in the making rematch like Godzilla versus Kong. It's not worried about building out a cinematic universe or anything. It's just it's just a standalone Godzilla movie, completely original, completely unique from any other entry in the franchise thus far. And it's done in such a way that like both fans, long time, and total beginners who know nothing about Godzilla can come to watch this movie and be like, that fucking rocked. Mm-hmm. It's so cool. And like, I hadn't watched this in a couple of years. Like, I think the last time I watched this was during the pandemic, and they had like on Twitter, they had like a MonsterVerse watch along where they had like they did one a week. I think it was leading up to Godzilla versus Kong, but they had like the directors go on Twitter and everyone like would hit play at a specific time and the directors would tweet along commentary for the movie. And I remember the funny thing was Gareth Edwards like isn't on any social media, so they actually just gave him the Twitter account to the MonsterVerse Godzilla Twitter.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
I don't blame him. Twitter sucks.
Yeah, Twitter sucks. But that was before Elon owned it, I'm pretty sure. So it was less bad back then. But yeah. In those 3 years or so, I've looked back way more fondly on this one this time around. I think like
So would you say that before, like, what was your opinion on it? Like,
I mean, before
from seeing it to before that.
yeah, I mean, I still really liked it. I would probably have said Kong Skull Island would be my favorite out of the MonsterVerse, but seeing this again now, hands down, it's this. This is the best MonsterVerse movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not even fucking close. Like I still love Kong Skull Island, but it's not even close. This is the best MonsterVerse movie.
Yeah. Honestly, like it's kind of hard for me to compare those two movies anyways.
Yeah, because they are very, very different from each other. But
yeah. But I mean, for me, like I mean, since the day we saw it to like now, my opinion has been like static.
really,
I've always really liked it. Yeah. It's probably the only time where I've seen a movie and I formed my opinion as soon as it ended, and then it never changed.
that's good though. That's a good thing. You're steadfast
Yeah.
in your resolve, Brian. That's good.
It's just like every time I watch it, like I just in my head I'm just like, this is just a solid ass movie, and it is directed well, and everything is very like
It is directed
easy to understand, but it's visually
fucking well.
pleasing, and it just does so many little things that I think are important to like the kaiju genre that a lot of the newer movies don't really care for. And I can elaborate on that more later. But I just think that Gareth, his take on the MonsterVerse, and well, I mean, you know, him being the progenitor of it, like I think his vision was just so much more like pure and unique to me. But you know, obviously we've moved on from it, but I think it clicked with me so much, because I don't know if I ever really told you about this, but like for a while there, like I was kind of getting bored of Godzilla because there was just nothing coming out.
That's like the thing.
2014, and this is the one that like brought me back. I'm like, yes, this is why I like this shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was for a lot of people, I think, because there was that 10-year gap between Final Wars and this where there was nothing. There was literally, there was
at that time. I mean, what
comics.
were we doing as fans? We were watching the same movies over and over again on DVD, on pirated DVDs.
Exactly, and watching shitty fan-made trailers like 3 years before this movie came out.
Yeah. So this was like the shot in the arm for me to really like bring me back as a fan. If this movie didn't come out, I don't know if I would be a Godzilla fan today.
Do you think we'd be doing this podcast, Brian? Would Talking Toku exist without this movie?
Maybe a podcast on something else. Maybe just dinosaur adventures.
Oh, maybe just do a whole dinosaur podcast. I mean, we could do that anyways. We could do that too.
We're kind of halfway that already. We're probably the biggest Camp Cretaceous fans on Earth.
We probably are. Oh my God, Brian! I just had a insane thought.
What?
What if like we keep signal boosting Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory to the point where we get to cameo on Chaos Theory season 2?
Oh my God, that would be great. You know how they have like they have the Easter eggs in like the Halo games where it's like I forget their names, but they're like in the back. You can always find them in the back, like arguing with each other. They're like famous voice actors or some shit.
I'll take your word for it. This is the first I've heard of it.
That's gonna be like us. We're just gonna be arguing somewhere in the background.
Arguing specifically about dinosaurs, though. We have to be arguing about dinosaurs.
Yeah, specifically about dinosaurs.
Right,
I don't know what, but yeah. Getting into a fight over who's better, Bumpy or Blue.
Oh my God. I mean, I think it's Bumpy personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
argument done.
I love Blue because my car is blue.
That's true.
But, you know, this isn't too far off from reality.
Yeah. See, who is the showrunner for Chaos Theory? I don't even know. But whoever you are, if you're listening, we're giving you plenty of ideas here.
Let us interview you.
Yeah, please. And then also
we'll make us like you, or we'll make you like us. There we go.
Okay.
Give us a spot in the show. Do it.
All right. Godzilla. What were we even talking about before this?
Um. Oh, I was saying that like I don't know if I would have been a fan.
Oh, right,
like
right,
today
right.
if this movie didn't come out and like really give me like the shot in the arm that it did. So yeah, like my opinion has literally never changed, and I watch this movie pretty regularly.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably the person like out of all the people I've talked to about Godzilla 2014, I am the one who likes it the most.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people like this. I think in the advent of King of the Monsters and the subsequent films in the MonsterVerse, I feel like people don't look as fondly on this one as they do with the others, which is a shame. But like, I'm not gonna, shit on people for liking the things they like. Just kidding. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Fuck you. No,
I understand when people like things. It's just not. People like different stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like I do get like some people's issues with this film. I don't necessarily agree with all of them. All of them. So some of them I do kind of agree with, and we'll get to that. But the main one, and I think you kind of convinced me of this, Brian. You brought me back around on Mr. EOD specialist Ford Brody.
Did I really?
I think so. I think you successfully convinced me of his worth as a character, because like, and
okay.
I don't know if this is kind of your take on it, but this is how I came away from it feeling. Yeah, he's still a boring milquetoast dude, but at the same time, his role as just kind of a nameless military grunt really works for the story they're trying to tell here.
He's like Master Chief. That is exactly where my head goes to.
Yeah, like
he is character. He is audience stand-in.
Yeah, he's just a regular dude who happened to get caught up in this crazy monster battle. Like literally any of the other nameless soldiers could be in his shoes. He's just the one who got lucky. Or unlucky, depending on how you look at it.
Very unlucky.
Yeah.
Both his parents are very dead.
Yes. Rest in peace, Joe Brody.
Yep. Rest in peace.
Like I understand that.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what like why I was fine with him all along. I never really thought Gareth went out of his way to try and make him a special character. Mm-hmm. Like I always saw him as just he is the camera that is the audience, and we give him a reason to be where he is, which is he's in the army, and he goes where the army goes because that's his job.
Yeah,
and like that's always made sense to me, and I think the acting is fine enough to where it's not like obnoxious. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really say a whole lot, so I think he is fine as a protagonist. I think that it's mainly just the point of the movie is just showing all this stuff from human view, not necessarily giving like a super like impactful story or reason for him being there. It's about a situation happening that people are trying to deal with in a non-fantastical way aside from the giant monsters. So,
you mean to tell me these giant monsters aren't realistic, Brian? What are you talking about?
I kind of related. I can't remember if I said this on the show, but the Mutas are still like my favorite OG.
They're so
MonsterVerse designs.
So fucking cool, dude.
They're so cool because they really match up with the design ethos that I feel like the MonsterVerse kind of goes for, which is like making an animal that makes sense but on a big scale. Mm-hmm. But the Mutos really look like they could be real, like they could exist somewhere.
Yeah,
I
agree to a certain extent. Like I definitely think the female one works, but the males, like it's built so strangely. Like his wings are like attached to his front legs and nothing else. and then he's got that horse, that kind of horse style body to him. It's very strange. It's a very weird look. I don't hate it. I love the design. It's just I don't know if that's something I could believe that exists.
I would believe it if he was airborne more often.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Which he kind of is, like, during that final battle.
He is
like,
airborne a lot.
But
we don't see him a lot.
We don't see him a lot, which is upsetting.
I mean, we see him a bit, but like most of the time that we see him, he's doing something on the ground and then takes off.
Yeah, but it's okay because the female's the better design. I said it.
Yeah, the female Muto is just a big tank, and I love her.
She is. I also, and we've talked about this before, the fucking sound design, man.
Yes.
The goddamn sound design. Oh my god. For the entire movie, not just the Mutos, like Godzilla and everything, but like and I think especially in this one, like the sound design for the rest of the MonsterVerse, like it's still good, but it hasn't been topped since this movie.
Yeah.
Like with the Mutos especially, all the sounds they're making, you can hear the emotion in it. Like the best one, I mean, there's obviously the one where they first meet up in San Francisco and the male gives the female the nuke. But then, of course, like the other big one would be right after Ford blows up the nest and like the female looks over and is like, oh shit, goes running away from the fight with Godzilla. And like you can hear like the anguish in her roars. Like she's so upset to see that all her young have been killed. And then when Ford makes a noise, she's like, you motherfucker, this was you. I know it was you. Like you can hear the rising anger. Like it's such I don't know how they managed to capture the emotion of a giant monster so well in a couple of sounds. It's so impressive. It's so well done.
Yeah. I mean, even just for like other things like the city being destroyed, explosions, like the footsteps, like like I don't know I don't know how they achieved it, but every time I watch it, no matter where I watch it, I always get the chills in my body. Like during some parts, especially like the Hawaii scene at the airport.
Yep.
Like the sound design, the shot composition, like everything about that is perfection. It is so good, and it gets the same exact reaction out of me that I had in the first time I saw it to like every single time I've seen it. It's the same reaction. I get it every time.
I know people really...
And that takes really, really good work to get a reaction like that.
It does. I know people really, really like Godzilla's first entrance in King of the Monsters, where he breaks out of the ice in Antarctica with the theme blaring. But like,
yeah,
which is good. Don't get me wrong; it's a great entrance.
It's good, but it's a crowd pleaser. It's not.
But
like,
the entrance in this movie, where like it's panning as that helicopter gets destroyed and is wreaking havoc as it tumbles through the airport, everyone's screaming and the camera pans, Godzilla's foot comes down, everyone goes dead silent, and then it cuts to the Muto kind of roaring like in challenge, and then it pans up throughout Godzilla's entire body. I'm getting chills just talking about it right now, dude. Like, come on.
I remember when that footage got leaked from Comic-Con and I watched it on like the really like grainy like on a really grainy video, and it was the same reaction to seeing that. Like it's just filmed so well. God, there was one other thing I was going to talk about and I forgot about. With him getting like arriving to his first appearance, like my favorite part of it is that in King of the Monsters, it's like triumphant when he shows up. It's like, oh, he's here, he's gonna save us. But like in 2014, it's like scary. It's still scary. Like when he shows up,
because there's a whole tsunami. Yeah,
I love that. I love that this movie can make him a good guy, but also scary at the same time. Like that is just like, it's such a unique take Like with Godzilla, you either have him as evil, indifferent, or just a goofy guy. But Godzilla 2014 somehow manages to kind of mesh it up a little bit and have him be like indifferent, but also like he's kind of scary. Like he's still scary. And like people see him as threatening. And I think that's why it works so well to me, because it's very realistic. People would see it that way, even if he was here to kill these things. Like it would still be terrifying to see this big fucking lizard.
Yeah, that kind of on a wider scale of that is kind of one of the things I like most about this, is that this is kind of presented as more of a disaster film than a giant monster film. And I love that aspect of it. And I wish more kaiju media would go that route. And it kind of, Shin Godzilla kind of does the same, but it kind of takes a different route. It goes like the more political aspect of it. Minus One also kind of does that, but it's more, focused on that family aspect. I don't know. It's just I can't really put a finger on why it feels so unique compared to those other ones, but like it really feels like it's just a typical disaster movie, and just the natural disaster happens to be a couple of big old monsters. It just works so well.
It does. I think it's just like, this kind of has to do with one of the things I wanted to talk about with like a lot of newer kaiju movies don't really seem to care about. And I think one of the more important aspects that gets looked over a lot is how characters and people in the movie react to seeing things. And I feel like it's kind of a lost art. I feel like in like Godzilla X Kong and like the newer MonsterVerse movies, I don't feel like people really have a reaction that I would find believable.
Well, I think at this point, like,
but like at the point of those movies, they're used to it. Yeah. But also, like, I think that having everyone get used to it, it contributes to just the goofier tone, which I know a lot of people like. But I think having a disaster-esque movie with people reacting to things in a realistic manner, like the part where, the kind of like Jurassic Park kind of looking shot where Godzilla shows up, we don't see his face, the soldiers shoot the flares off. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And there's just all those people on the rooftop just staring at him slack-jawed.
Yeah.
They're not like they're not making quips or going like, oh, look at that. They're not taking pictures. They're just like, I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. And that seems really believable to me. Also, because they just survived the absolute trauma fuck nightmare that is almost getting drowned by a giant tsunami.
Very true.
But like, it's like stuff like that, like, I think is small but important. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, no, I pretty much covered all the points I would have made anyway. So
I just like, I don't know if like it is something that's important or if I'm just making it up in my head. But like for me, like if I see someone react to something believably in a movie, I think it's cooler.
I mean, that was kind of the whole MO of this movie from the beginning. It was supposed to be a very realistic, grounded take on the character. The design ethos for Godzilla himself was, oh, this is the creature that someone saw back in 1954, went to Toho and said, hey, I saw this monster. It kind of looked like this. Let's make a movie out of it. And the it kind of looked like this was what they got the suit. Like that's, I'm twisting my words here, but the design ethos was someone saw this version of Godzilla from 2014 and made a suit out of it, and it ended up being the 54 Godzilla.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, no,
that's a pretty cool design ethos. I like that.
No, yeah, that was that's how they did going into it. But yeah, it was always supposed to be like a very real world grounded take, and I think they did that really, really well. For all the reasons you just mentioned, like everyone reacts in a very realistic way to these things existing, And it's a shame that more media does not do that. Again, I think Shin Godzilla and -1 do it pretty well, but in a very different way.
Yeah,
Like
I think -1, I really appreciated all the characters' reactions, but it just wasn't. It was a more central cast of characters. I think like you saw less people on average than you do in Godzilla 2014. 2014 makes like it kind of part of the disaster movie. DNA is it shows a lot of people that aren't the main character. Like it bounces between random perspectives to show you different angles. And that kind of is also another thing I really love about this movie was their shots were all from perspectives that only humans could be at. And that was clearly one of the best decisions they made because it looks amazing. And I would have killed for a Godzilla King of the Monsters that was shot like that.
That's the thing. Like it's a shame that, I mean, King of the Monsters does some of it sometimes, but with Godzilla versus Kong and New Empire, like they've kind of abandoned the concept of scale, which really blows because that is something.
GXK, that was actually something I really wanted to talk about. Was they completely they didn't care about scale at all.
Like there's no sense of scale, like especially like all the Hollow Earth stuff in GXK. Like they may as well just be dudes, just normal sized dudes running at each
floating
other
around
exactly
in the air.
But like with this movie, you get a sense of how fucking massive everything is, especially with Godzilla, because the sound design they have for like, even when he's not doing anything, he's just like walking, there's that like low rumbling bass when he's just walking past, and that just gives you a sense of how massive he is. It's so well done.
Yeah.
So I have a question, Brian.
What is your question?
I don't know. Maybe I've just been stupid for the past 10 years and I've never realized it. The scene in Hawaii when they're looking for the Muto and they're like, "Oh, we have a tracker on this nuclear submarine and it's on an island for some reason. How the fuck did that happen?" For the past 10 years, I don't know what the white goop on the nuclear submarine is, and I don't know if I want to know. But do you know what it is?
No idea.
Oh, you don't know what it is either? Okay, cool. At least we're in the same boat. I've wondered that for so long.
I just assumed maybe it was monster slobber.
That's what I thought too, but like it looks way too thick.
Yeah, but I mean, they show him like have the nuke in his mouth, and he's kind of
the entire sub is coated in it though.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know, because like you see it when the camera pans around, like he's got his head inside the sub from the other end. So why would the rest of the sub be covered in saliva?
I don't know. Maybe he has webs. Maybe he has webs that he never used afterwards.
I don't know. It's so strange. I've never known what the white goop is. Hey, listeners, if you know what the white goop in Godzilla 2014 was, let us know.
Please
send us a tweet.
I'm invested in this investigation now.
We're gonna. Oh, damn it. I feel like I should have like asked about this back on that MonsterVerse watch along. I should have tweeted at Gareth being like, "What's the white goop? Tell me." Listen, Gareth, if you're listening to the show, if you're a Talking Toku fan, tell us what's the white goop. I need to know.
Yeah. Also, can we interview you?
Yeah, that too.
Cool.
All right.
Well, do you want to talk about your dislikes? So for the movie,
yeah. So I do, to a certain extent, I do agree with the whole. Not so much the screen time thing, because that's a stupid argument, but more the cutting away. That's kind of where I understand people's issues with it. I don't see, before it was kind of weird. Like before I rewatched it for this episode, like I was like, oh yeah, the cutting away during that first scene in Hawaii, that's fine. But cutting away as Ellen is going into the shelter, and you see Godzilla and the Muto going at each other right as the door is closed, like they shouldn't have cut away there. But for some reason this time I was kind of I kind of flip-flopped. Like I kind of didn't like that they cut away from the fight in Hawaii. Like all that build up. And don't get me wrong, I still love the scene, but like it does feel like they're teasing you a little too much there. I don't know. I don't know where the wires got crossed there for this time around, but it doesn't affect the overall enjoyment of the movie. Like I was able to move past it pretty well. But yeah, that's really my only big complaint for the movie here. And you know, the other one that everyone has is, though, they shouldn't have killed off Bryan Cranston, which also I agree with, because like he lends so much heart to the movie. Like for how little he's in the movie, like he is doing such a good job in that role. Like he's putting so much emotion. Like it really is believable. Which I think I appreciated his performance even more so this time around. Just like you can really tell he's really just desperate to get to the bottom of what happened to his wife. Like, yeah, he may seem crazy to like the outsider, but deep down he just wants to know what happened to his wife. That's all he really wants. And it this time around it kind of tugged at my heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. Every time I watch this movie, his performance always gets to me. He plays a broken man very well.
Yes, very much so.
He got all that. He learned all that from Breaking Bad.
He did.
Oh. But for like the cutting away thing, like I understand why people don't like it, but for me, like I always found the movie to move along very, very nicely anyways. So like even though it cuts away, like it's not that much more time until you see the monsters again.
Like that's
so like it never really bothered me as much as it bothered other people. But like I understand why like it bothered them. But for me, like I found that it cuts away. It's like the first time watching it, I'll admit I did get disappointed that they kept cutting away. But I think once the final confrontation happened, I was more on board with it. I'm like, okay, well, we're here. The fight is happening.
It's a pretty good payoff. It's a really good payoff.
really, really good payoff. And I think that the way Gareth got there, like, I think for some people it just wasn't for them. But for me, I think I understood it, and I was on the same wavelength with it.
Yeah.
And it kind of has, it's kind of like it really is very apparent that it's like a disaster movie, because disaster movies do that a lot, where they show something wrong start to happen, but they don't show all of it, and it usually takes to like the third act for shit to really start going wrong.
That's true. Yeah, I hadn't really considered that from that angle before, actually.
So I mean, you know, maybe it's because they were kind of using. They lean too hard into that DNA, and it, you know, I don't know, you know, for some people, like, they just don't like disaster movies, and maybe the format is why. But for me, like, it never really bothered me all that much. But again, like, I do understand, and you know what? You have plenty of movies where it's all monsters.
This is true, but I mean, no. You mentioned the pacing, like that. That's the reason, like, it didn't bother me too much this time around. Like I was mostly just like it was mostly aw shucks, I wish I could have seen that, because the movie's paced so well. Like I can just keep moving on and enjoy the rest of what I'm seeing here. Like it's not that big a deal. Now,
I think maybe in the future, like if they want to do like another spin-off show, they could do like, I don't know, like a episode, or like I forgot the word, but just like short contained stories that are from just random people in the MonsterVerse, and you could have some of those cut scenes from,
oh yeah, that could be cool.
Hawaii and whatever, and like just on like a camcorder or something, kind of like Cloverfield.
Mm-hmm.
That I would watch that. That would be cool. And I think that would help people kind of get more down with Godzilla 2014 if you give it companion pieces. So you can fix some of the problems retroactively.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question for you, Brian. I feel like I'm going to know the answer because I guess you watched this movie more often than I had given you credit for initially.
I probably watch it about like watch it probably like twice a year.
Okay.
Maybe 3 times.
How often does the bird still get you?
Oh man, it stopped getting me a few years ago.
Okay.
But I did let my guard down the first time I watched it with Sam.
Oh,
actually. Really? She got jump scared by it, which then jump scared me.
All right.
So
I am proud to say I think this was the first time the bird did not get me.
Really?
In the 10 years since this movie's been out, I think this is the first time the bird did not get me. In fact, in my notes I have "didn't get me this time, you goddamn bird." So
yeah,
because that
a
is
good feeling.
It's such an effective jump scare because it's the only jump scare in the entire movie, and it has no reason to be there. It has no right being there in a movie like this.
And it's right at the beginning of one of my favorite parts of the entire movie.
Oh, the bridge scene.
The bridge
scene.
I love it. I just love the this is what I'm talking about. Like Godzilla is like technically a good guy, but he's also a bit of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Like he swims up to those boats with just his tail visible, just so he can get the drop on them.
Yeah, he's kind of just doing it for shits and giggles. I feel he's like
for what other reason other than to just fuck around with the humans a little bit.
He's just being dramatic, man. He had no reason to do that. He could have just come
he had
up.
no reason. But man, I think that the bridge scene is one of the most excellent portrayals of scale I've ever seen.
Yes. Oh
because
my God.
You're already on a gigantic structure. I don't know if you've ever been on the Golden Gate.
No, I haven't.
Dave, but I've actually been on a boat in that area, and I got to see it from the water. It is gargantuan. It is huge.
Really?
So to see Godzilla up next to it being even more massive, and then just like destroying it like it's nothing. Like it is like a really excellent scene. Like it is really like you know the scenes that they take in disaster movies and put them in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the big thing that they show in the trailer to get butts in the seat. This is what that would be.
Yeah, I think it was in the trailer. Scene. Like I think that
I'm pretty sure
that was
it
featured
was,
pretty heavily in the trailer.
Yeah,
I do really like the final shot of that scene where it like pulls back for like a mile away, and you see him off in the distance, and like you hear the roar like just barely because it's traveling that far because it's so fucking loud. It's such a good shot.
Yeah, and then it transitions right to the scene of the Malmuto diving down into the boat.
Yes,
which is like a really good use of suspense. Like this movie has it just uses suspense so well. Like you already had the very suspenseful scene of Godzilla showing up and attacking the bridge, and then you had the payoff, and then it does it all over again with the fucking boat. Like it's really, really good. So it's so good.
Brian, I follow up question.
What
is the bridge scene your favorite scene in the whole entire movie?
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
No. Because one of the other things we didn't talk about in relation to sound design was the building crunch.
Oh,
that's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
That's some pretty good sound design, yeah.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say the building crunch. Everybody has that sound living in their head rent free. I'm pretty sure even Sam said that she found it to be very nice sounding.
Really? That's funny. It was nice. I had the house to myself when I watched this, so I like cranked the volume up. So like I was feeling every impact. It was so great.
It is a movie meant to be watched with the volume very high.
I wish I could go back and watch this in like an IMAX theater for the first time. I specifically,
man, if they ever do a re-release, I'm gonna be there.
I specifically wish I could go back and see that fucking atomic breath scene for the first time.
Oh my god, I remember seeing that in the theater, and like, so someone gave us like a thumbs up or something. I forget. Do you remember that?
No,
there was,
I
like,
don't.
Some dude next to us. I can't remember if it was like before or after them, or like I forget when it was, but I know he gave us a thumbs up or some shit. I don't remember.
I don't remember that. No.
But I remember our theater reaction pretty well. People were hyped.
We didn't even like realize what was going on at first. We were like, wait, what's that glow? Oh shit. Okay.
You know what's funny? Like, I remember watching it in the theater for the first time, and I didn't even think about the atomic breath until
Neither
it
did
started
I.
going.
Like, when I saw the glow on his face, I'm like, oh, is there a helicopter coming to rescue him or something? And then it cuts and you see the lights going up his tail and the score just building to that crescendo.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like they tried. I feel like they tried to recapture that in the later movies in the series, but I don't think they ever really could.
No, there's no good way to recapture that, I don't think.
Because it's like he's back after 10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
like
because the other movies since then they don't have that sense of suspense that this movie has in spades. You know, that's suspense is not something the other movies are concerned with.
Yeah, it's just like the suspense angle to this movie just adds so much to it. Like, so much, it just makes the viewing experience just so much better. Like, I can watch it so much and still not get tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the atomic breath, though, it is kind of unique in this movie. It looks like kind of goopy.
Goopy?
Did you ever notice that? Like, not like goopy, but like plasma-y.
Yeah, it's like specifically like if you focus in on where it's hitting the Muto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed that before. I never really put much thought into it, though.
I think it was them trying to make it like more realistic. But and I think it looks good.
No, I think it looks good too.
It does look a little weird sometimes.
I mean, they did. I think the novelization said kind of claims that it's because, you know, in King of the Monsters a couple of years later, like, it looked a lot more powerful than it did in this movie. And I think more blue, but yeah, I think it mentions that like the Muto's EMP was like affecting it, so his atomic breath was weaker in this movie, and that's why it looked like that, and then looked even more powerful in King of the Monsters.
Now
which
that
I kind of like
some
that.
retconning.
It is some retconning, but no, that was in the novelization for this movie. Like, that the Mutos it was being weakened by the Mutos, so like it wasn't even retconning. It was just an added detail. I think I could be wrong.
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool.
It is cool. I'd have to like double check and look into it, but yeah, still cool.
Yeah, pretty good. I think it was pretty unique. Not just being a big blue laser beam, looking a little bit more organic.
Yeah, more almost like just a straight flamethrower, which is really cool.
Yeah, but
well, hey, speaking of scenes we wish we could go back and rewatch for the first time, we haven't talked about not even either of our favorite scene in the whole entire movie, but the greatest scene in the whole entire movie.
Yep, the building crunch.
No.
What?
No, that's your favorite scene in the whole entire movie. I'm talking about the greatest. I'm talking about the greatest scene in the whole entire movie.
Daddy's home cake every night.
You're goddamn right, Brian.
Daddy's home, cake every night.
I
Oh.
clapped when I heard it this time.
Yeah, I always listen in during the time. It's usually like whenever I watch this movie, like I do tune out occasionally,
Mm-hmm.
but I always focus back up during that
During
scene.
Daddy's home, cake
During
every
Daddy's home, cake every night.
night.
God, what a like whoever wrote that line, like I want to know what they were thinking.
They were thinking good things is what they were thinking.
They were aiming for an Oscar is what they were thinking.
Amazing.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know why it's so funny to us, it's because there was a meme a while back that Dave can't find anymore.
I mean, it's still just a goofy, funny line, even without that.
Yeah, that's true. It is pretty fucking funny. Do you want to talk about the building crunch?
Talk about the book. It's your favorite scene in the whole entire movie, Brian. I think you should talk about the building crunch.
It is probably my favorite tail whip from anything, Godzilla or not.
It's pretty great.
Like, we talked about the sound design, but just the Muto being absolutely catapulted into that building so hard that his body parts start falling off.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of can't make something better than that. Just the crack that it makes. It's just so good. I want to know how the sound designers made that. Is there behind the scenes on that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
God, because I want to know. I want to know what they did.
Yeah,
it lives in my head rent free.
You.
God. All right.
Oh yeah, no. Here, I found it. In an early screenplay for the 2014 Godzilla film, the female Muto's magnetism prevents Godzilla from using his atomic breath just before he can unleash it, causing the ignition in his throat to short circuit. The male Muto releases an EMP with the same effect in the movie's novelization.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I like that though.
So there we go.
I like the they like with the Mutos. They really like. It really feels like they're part of an ecosystem.
It does. It really does.
Like more than the other ones really do. I'd say GXK actually really showed off the Hollow Earth ecosystem a lot, which I appreciated. But man, with the Mutos, they really feel like they were part of an ecosystem with Godzilla, which was really nice.
Yeah. I suppose I'll talk about my favorite scene in the whole entire movie.
Yes.
And if we're talking suspense, the other bridge scene. The other bridge scene.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
When they're trying to get the train through without alerting the female Muto, and they fail miserably in that effort. And it's just the Muto's just kind of creeping along, trying to find where they are, and she's like looking real close to them. And like the guy's radio starts going off as she gets closer because the the electromagnetic pulses is just screwing with the wiring. That is terrifying. And that's
also the noises that it makes.
Yeah. That goes back to like how good the sound design is for the Mutos, where it's like you can feel the emotion in their noises just as animals. Like you can tell, you can hear that she's like kind of like searching for them. She's like kind of curious, like, where the hell are these guys? I know they're here. And that's another one that like does a lot with scale. Like because it pulls out after that, and you see her rising up past the bridge, and you see just how like, oh, these guys are like ants to her. That's not good. But yeah, and then that's the scene where we also discovered that she's pregnant.
Oh yeah.
And then
big glowy egg sac.
And then you saw it, Brian, and you said, I want to drink that.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm never gonna
yes. I did say that.
You didn't even remember what I was talking about.
Nope, now I remember. It was only a few weeks ago.
It was only a few weeks ago.
I remember that. Go listen to that episode. It was really fun.
Amazing. But yeah, that's my favorite scene in the whole entire movie. It's good. I really like that shot when it's looking at Ford, and Ramirez, and then it shows her looking up through the hole in the bridge, and then that's where his radio starts going off. It's really cool. I love it. It's good stuff.
You know what other scene that is very prominent in the marketing that we still didn't talk about, that we still haven't talked about? The Halo jump scene.
Oh, of course. How the hell did we forget about that?
I love the Halo jump scene.
It's real good.
Is so cool, and I love that they used the 2001 Space Odyssey music in it.
It's probably it might be the best usage of like a recycled film score in any movie. I
was sure they were not going to use it in the movie because they had it in the trailer.
They did.
But then when it was in the movie and you could just hear it, it wasn't like super loud, but like it was noticeable, like you could hear it. And just the entire way down, the entire jump down, and you see the city just from the sky, just absolutely demolished. And then you just start seeing, you're able to see Godzilla and the Muto just fighting like in the darkness, like just a little bit. And it's so good. It adds to the scale. It's scary. Like you can hear them breathing really heavily in their masks. Like just terrifying. And then like when they finally land and then you get to see that shot of EOD specialist like looking at the tail like moving and you get to see the Muto fly past, like oh, it's so good. It's the opening to the final act, and it's one of the best scenes in the Godzilla series for me.
I think like as soon as from the Halo jump onwards to the end of the film, it's like firing on all cylinders. There is not a single.
It's crack.
Yeah, it's crack. It's crack. It's so good. Like this is something I kind of noticed more on this go around. I love the color palette in San Francisco, like the kind of blackish gray and orange from all the flames. It's such a nice color palette. But then also you get the bit of the red because they're in Chinatown, so you get a little bit of the visual, a little bit of visual. I don't have a word for it, but you get a little bit of variety. Yeah, that was the word. Yeah, it just kind of adds to the overall. It almost gives it kind of like a horror movie vibe because it feels like they're just descending into hell, which they kind of do. They skydive through a lightning storm, so it's very apt, that comparison.
And I like this actually kind of goes back to a lot of people's criticisms of like them cutting away from the army guys back to Godzilla fighting. I tend to not like to say people are wrong, but you're wrong. Like it's really not that bad.
I'm gonna say it. The MonsterVerse has not had a cooler finisher than the Kiss of Death.
It's true.
They have not topped it. They keep trying to top it, and they have not succeeded.
No, I thought the GXK one was actually really boring.
I didn't mind it.
Godzilla didn't even get the kill.
He didn't do it. But that's also because it was mostly Kong's film.
It was mostly Kong's film. But then Kong just smacked him a bunch while he was frozen.
That's true. But it was a Sub-Zero fatality, which is nice.
I guess.
Actually, hold on. I'm just realizing that both Kong's finishers in the Godzilla crossover movies have both been Sub-Zero fatalities.
Oh my god, they have been.
Holy shit.
I don't like that.
Is Adam Wingard a Mortal Kombat guy?
I mean, he probably is.
I mean, who can blame him?
Most people are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Most people like Mortal Kombat.
But yeah, no, like I don't, and I know a lot of people like it. I've never liked the finishing move on Ghidorah, like the reverse Kiss of Death. Like I've always thought it was just kind of stupid.
I thought that was stupid.
I never liked it. Even like back when we first saw it in theaters and we were still like hyped on the movie, I was just like, what was that even supposed to be? That was dumb.
Yeah. I didn't really particularly like the ending to King of the Monsters in general.
But no, the Kiss of Death here, good shit.
Yeah. It's I love the roar he lets out in victory after he does it.
His victory screech, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. it comes off as a man who desperately wants to go back to bed.
That's so a lot of people were talking about this, and it's kind of cool, like going back to this after the other MonsterVerse films. Like, I really like the idea that he's like rusty in this movie. Like, he's just been sleeping for the past 50 years, and so he's rusty, so he's like kind of getting his ass handed to him. But like now in King of the Monsters, in Godzilla versus Kong, and GXK, like, he's a little more battle hardened. He can throw down a little bit easier, because he goes to sleep after killing both Mutos. I mean, granted, a building falls on top of him when he kills the males. He didn't really have much of a choice there, but like he passes the fuck out after killing the female. So
yeah,
it's kind of it's fun to think of him as like, I saw someone compare, like, use the term like as like an old samurai to describe him in this film, and I think that's like a really cool comparison.
I always like to see him as the I'm like a week away from retirement kind of type.
That feels very apt as well.
Yeah, it's like I was a week away from retirement. You decided to show up. God damn it. Yeah, I like the rusty. I like him being rusty. I don't know. I never really got that sense from him in this movie, but maybe that's just because I never really heard that angle.
I mean,
I just saw it as like he's fighting two things.
I guess, but like, I mean, think of it this way: like, King Ghidorah, he's like still raring to go after killing him in King of the Monsters.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And he got his ass kicked, probably even more so by Ghidorah than the Mutos.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he got dropped from the stratosphere, for God's sake.
Keep forgetting that happened.
But yeah, no,
it's so stupid.
Yeah, but it's cool.
It's cool, but
it's stupid, but it's cool. And you can say that about Godzilla in general. It's stupid, but it's cool. There's a lot
of stupid shit in that movie, but that might be the most stupid. Not in a bad way, just in a yeah, that happened kind of way.
That just happened.
That just happened.
All right. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. That's all I have on notes for Godzilla 2014.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, there was one last quick thing I wanted to mention.
What's that?
There is one part of my opinion that has changed ever so slightly every time I've watched this movie. Every time I watch it, the more I dislike the line "let them fight."
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but it just gets cringier the more I hear it.
Okay, that's fair.
I think it's probably the only bit of writing in the whole movie that really like just kind of it's not cool. Like, it sounds like it was meant to be cool, but it isn't. I don't know if anyone has that opinion other than me.
I don't know.
I might just be
you're the first person I've heard talk about that. So you might be. I don't know.
I might be. I don't know. But I do probably watch this movie more than most.
That's true.
So maybe it's my problem.
Actually, now that you mention that, I do want to talk a little bit about Serizawa, and mostly just the big exposition dump at the beginning of the movie. Right after Joe dies and Serizawa is telling Ford about Godzilla. That exposition dump is so fucking cool. Like,
yeah,
presenting Godzilla as a force of nature, and that's part of the MO of this film. Like, that was what they set out to do, is one of the film's biggest strengths, and one of the, I think, biggest failings of the MonsterVerse going forward, because they removed a lot of that mystique surrounding the character. I think that's one of the biggest things that they screwed up. I really wish they would have just kept it. And I think they took the concept of the alpha predator completely wrong, because they set it up in this movie and they're like, oh no, he's the alpha. He controls all the Titans. I don't think that's what they were going for in this movie. That's not at all what they were going for.
Yeah, I don't think so. I always thought that take was kind of stupid.
Yeah, it was.
I really did. Again, I really don't like the end of King of the Monsters.
But yeah, no, just everything. Like the what little world building is in this film is really, really well done, I think.
Yeah. And I like the role of Monarch in this. I mean, it's very small.
It's
like,
it's very
secretive.
subdued.
So.
Yeah, because they're still underground at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
another thing that I just remembered we didn't talk about at all. The music.
Oh, of course. And I'm the music guy.
You are the music guy.
I have to talk about the music. It's really, really good. It's really good.
It very pleasant. I listen to it on its own every once in a while.
My first note for this was that the main title theme slaps, and slaps is in all
goes
caps.
So hard.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good.
It goes really. I'm so glad that I'm actually really like that they didn't use any of the original music. I think the music that they used for this movie really helped.
I do not
everything.
think any like classic Godzilla themes would have worked in this film. I think it would have been super out of place.
It would have been. Yeah, the score for this movie was tailor made for this movie.
Yeah, it's got a. I had a thought when I was watching this. I didn't make a note of it, but I used a specific adjective in my description for the score, and I can't remember what the hell it was. And now I'm annoyed at myself.
Just edit it in later.
Yeah, no, I probably won't remember it because I watched it like a week ago now. But
oof.
Grandiose. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
It is. It feels very grandiose. The episode we did a while ago where I kind of reanalyzed the score to Godzilla vs. Kong. You know, I talked about how the Ifuka-based scores are like big and bombastic. This kind of is like that, but in a different way. It feels grandiose. It is still kind of bombastic, but it also knows when to like pull back. One of my favorite tracks is actually near the beginning, when they're going down. Actually, not even near the beginning. It is the beginning, when they're going down into the mine and they're seeing the skeleton, and like it's just getting really, really eerie as they notice that the other spore is gone. And then it picks up with those drums as it goes into Janjira, which, by the way, I still don't understand why they felt the need to create a fictionalized city in Japan for this movie.
Probably to not bring up emotions about the nuclear disaster that they had at Fukushima.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Or was that no? That was after. Hold on, when did Fukushima happen?
Was that 2012? 2011. So yeah, it would have been. That makes sense then. Yeah. It was probably that.
It was probably just to try and be a little bit respectful.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense then. Never mind. I take back I rescind my statement. Okay. But yeah, score's real good. Hey, Waxwork. Godzilla 2014 is at this point the only MonsterVerse film you have not put out the score to on vinyl. You should do that, because I'll buy it.
I will buy it.
See, that's two customers.
That's saying a
that's
lot.
At least
I don't buy
two customers.
Anything.
So do it. Come on.
Please. All right. Well, I think that's it.
I think that's it
right?
too.
Yeah. I mean, everyone who listens to us has seen this movie.
Yeah, so. I would hope so.
I honestly, I think we should just change the our wording of review to discussion.
You think so?
Because do we really review anything?
I guess not. But like, you could say that about a lot of shows. Like, it's not really a review.
I guess that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. We can keep it for now. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, do we want to move on to our next and final segment?
Yeah.
Or what
I'm down.
New cool kaiju thing are you checking out right now segment?
Yes.
Brian, what new cool kaiju thing are you checking out right now? Tell me.
Well, because the most important thing that's ever happened in mankind's history is happening in 3 days, I've been playing an absolute shit ton of Jurassic World Evolution.
I had to think for a second, like, what the hell is he getting at right now?
I have played so much. I have played where is this? I have played 30 hours in the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
Which is a lot for me.
That's pretty good.
Considering that I also play a lot of other stuff. I also played Teardown with the Godzilla mods.
Oh, you mentioned that, yeah.
And let me tell you, if you can change you can get like mini cities and change the weather around, you can make Godzilla look pretty scary.
Really?
Yeah, you can. It's pretty cool.
I might have to look into getting it myself then.
Yeah, pretty sick. Other than that, let me think here. I haven't really been doing anything. I am planning on watching Gamera the Brave very soon. I was going to watch it during my next workout, but I have not been able to work out. So next time I work out, I'm probably going to watch Gamera the Brave. So fuck you, Dave.
That's when Brian. That's when Brian stops working out. He never works out again, just to spite me.
That would be really bad for my health.
It would be, but it'd be a funny bit.
It would be a very funny bit. I'll give you that. I think that's it. I rewatched Jurassic Park yesterday.
Oh, nice.
It's a great fucking movie. What else is there to say about it?
Yeah, you're good. Nothing more to say there.
But that's it for me.
All right. Slow couple weeks for me too. I did finally sit down to watch Son of Kong, though. Not gonna lie, kind of boring. I was a little unimpressed. It sucks because it starts out pretty promising because it picks up pretty close to after the end of the first movie. Carl Denham is like, he's completely broke. Like everyone in New York,
too, Carl, me too.
Everyone in New York who had any like run-in with Kong, they're like suing him for every penny he has. So he's like broke and destitute. To the point where like he has his own messenger to like bring him like, oh, I got 3 new lawsuits for you today, Carl. Here you go. And I'm like, he like actually, it feels like he has actual real remorse over what he did and like bringing Kong to the modern world and the consequences of that. Like, I'm like, oh, this is like surprisingly mature. Like I kind of like where this is going. And then later, the reason for them to get to Skull Island is, oh, there's apparently a treasure there. And I'm like, oh, so we didn't actually learn anything here. Cool.
No.
All that promising development in the first act just went right out the window.
Yeah, they could have done something way cooler than that. That sucks.
It's a short movie, right? Like it's 70 minutes, not long.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people complain that in the Peter Jackson Kong film, it takes an hour to get to Skull Island? That's okay, because that movie's 3 hours long. So when you get to...
And it's also a good hour before they get to
yeah, that's just a great movie in general. I
actually like it more before they get to the island.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I actually really like the boat ride. I think I love sea journeys, man.
Fair. But yeah, so the thing with that is that there's still 2 hours left of the movie. In this movie, by the time we get to Skull Island, there's less than half an hour left.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Oh my God. They really didn't have a whole lot of budget,
They really didn't. It's so weird. And like, thankfully, like once they get to Skull Island, that last half hour is like really, really good. Like there's some really good effects stuff in there. Like almost stuff to like rival that of the first King Kong. Like there's one where Kiko, I think, is the name of the titular son of Kong. He fights a giant bear. It's fucking cool.
I love giant bears.
But yeah.
Wait, that sounds wrong. Bears are cool. Like real bears. Regular bears are cool. I mean, I'm digging myself a hole here.
You could just stop talking if you wanted to do that.
I'm just gonna stop talking.
All right, cool. But yeah, Son of Kong, I was kind of unimpressed. Like I knew going into it wasn't gonna be like as good as the original King Kong, but like I didn't think it was gonna be that disappointing.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Would you say it's still worth a watch? Because I've never seen Son of Kong.
I mean, yeah, it's worth the watch. Again, it's short. It's not even. It's 70 minutes long. It's an hour and 10 minutes. It's nothing.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah.
We'll see. Might add it to my list.
Again, you get to watch him fight a bear.
Yes, that is something. Yep. That is tempting.
And there's actual monkeys earlier on in the movie, and they're playing instruments.
Ooh. Is there still very overt sexism like in the first one?
Not as bad. There
Really?
is
They've
sexism.
improved.
Barely.
Okay.
It's not as like, I mean, it's still in your face, but there's not as much of it as there was in the original.
Is it as in your face as I hate women?
No, not even close.
That movie was insane.
And not as much racism either, because the natives are only in there for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. Yeah, they're barely there. So, but yeah, no, I'd say it's worth a watch. I wouldn't. I don't think I would ever revisit it unless I were to like, oh, I'm gonna watch all the King Kong movies or something. Like I wouldn't like go out of my way to rewatch this. I don't think.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think that's about all I've been checking out. Well, in Kaiju number 8, always.
Oh, of course, I watched the new episode. Pretty good.
I loved this new episode, honestly. Just seeing all the cadets like just chatting it up, getting to know each other.
I like how everyone
that was fun. That was really fun.
I like how everyone like dove in fear when they saw that one like super jacked guy.
Yeah, that was really funny. Because they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm so strong." It's like, "Oh no, that guy's really strong." Oh no,
look at it. This is the muscle of a working man, and then his like gut falls out.
Yeah,
me too.
Like it or not, this is what peak male physique looks like.
Oh, it's so good. I just every episode something insane happens.
I know. I have been reading more of the manga as well. I won't say anything because I don't want to spoil it for Brian, but
yeah, don't spoil it for me, dork.
Yeah, I'm like, I initially was like 5 volumes behind, but I'm catching up now, and damn, shit's getting crazy. But that's all. I'll leave it at that. It's real cool though.
Well, I can't read, so
that's true.
I'll have to wait a while. You know,
I'll have to. You can bring up pictures of the pages on your computer, Brian, and I'll read it to you audiobook style.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Of
Maybe
course.
you can do it like before I go to bed. Get me all sleepy.
Yeah. Do you want me to do all like the what's the word I'm looking for? The stereotypical like anime yelling too? Will that also help you sleep?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, very loud.
All right.
Very loud.
Very nice. I'll do what I
Cool.
can.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for us today.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, feel free to go follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. All that talking Toku. Go follow Kaiju United at their Facebook group and their Discord server and their website, where they just recently posted a interview with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. It was real good.
Damn.
It was real cool.
Nutty.
So it was cool to see him kind of waxing poetic about his love for the franchise and all things kaiju. So go check that out. It was a really good interview. What are we doing next? Oh wait, hold on. Let me look at the Let me look at the time here. Oh, okay. So next time we would record would be the 28th, not the 27th. That's Memorial Day, so this place will probably be closed. Chaos Theory review?
Yes.
Fuck.
May have to talk about the day of recording, but I'll talk to you about that later.
That's fine. But all right, yeah, set it in stone. Chaos Theory review is coming up next.
Yep, get ready. It's gonna be us.
Fucking
one
ready.
of us should review it for Kaiju United.
Oh, that would be cool. You know what?
Can we call dibs, like both of us collectively, and write a review together?
How about we both type up the exact same message and send it at the exact same time? We make sure.
I have a better idea.
Okay.
That involves less work.
Okay.
One of us writes one thing and just says reviewed by Talking Toku and sends it.
I mean, okay, we could do that too. When you said one thing, I assume this is so stupid. I don't know why my mind went this way. I assumed like I'd write one word of the review and then you'd write the next word, and so on and so forth.
The three-legged race of review writing.
I almost want to do that to see how terrible it would be.
Yeah, no, I'm down. Let's do it. We'll try it.
Cool. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next time for our review of Jurassic World Chaos Theory. What will likely be the greatest show of 2024. All right. Goodbye.
Get ready for shitloads of rambling. See you later.
Right. Bye. Long live Bumpy.